Are you ready for a great adventure? Today on The World is Yours. We're going to South America to see one of the biggest sinkholes in the world. This great blue hole is part of the barrier reef system of Belize. From deep below the ocean to the hilltop on which the Castle of San Jorge sits, we'll land in Lisbon, Portugal, to experience all this ancient city has to offer. Finally, we venture far into the rainforest on a journey down a river only the bravest explorers dared attempt. We're going to the Amazon. Ready? Let's go! The world is waiting, and the world is yours. Belize. On the east coast of the Caribbean Sea, this Central American country may be small, but it's rich with history. Belize has an area of about 8,800 square miles and a population of about 387,000, the lowest density of people in all of Central America. But it's growing at a rapid pace. The people here come from all over the world. So many different cultures and languages give Belize an incredibly diverse society. Though Belize was controlled by Great Britain for hundreds of years, ancient Maya influence is still evident in the culture. The Maya civilization rose to prominence over 3,000 years ago, spreading through the area that is now Belize around the year 1500 BCE. They thrived here with about 1 million people living in the area until the Spanish landed in Central America in the 16th century. We'll travel to one of the most visited archaeological sites of these ancient Maya. Above the Mopan River, near the border of Guatemala, is the Sunantunich, an ancient Mayan ceremonial center. Sunantunich thrived during the late Classic period in the Belize Valley area, a region which at its peak had about 200,000 people living there. The name Sunantunich means stone woman in Mayan, a modern name given to the site because most ancient Mayan sites' names are still unknown. An ancient pyramid standing about 130 feet high, El Castillo is the second tallest structure in Belize. It's believed the structure was built in 2 phases, beginning around the year 800. The pyramid is built beneath a series of layered terraces, and there are carvings in the building material, depicting images like the birth of a god related to the royal family, various gods of creation, and the tree of life itself. A team of archaeologists found a burial chamber that had been untouched, attached to a larger building at the site. Sunantunich is a remarkably preserved archaeological landmark, one that is still teaching us about the lives of this amazing ancient civilization. From the Mayan ruins of the western mainland to the islands in the east, specifically the largest island of Belize, the Ambergris Caye. This island, found in the Caribbean Sea, reaches 25 miles in length and 1 mile wide. The areas that haven't been touched by people on the island remain a ring of white sand beach, surrounding a mangrove swamp, a woodland section of the island in the center, made up of mangrove trees that root in coastal areas of fine sediment rocks. Before the arrival of Christopher Columbus, the island was inhabited by the Maya. This Maya community on Ambergris Caye is known for making a particular style of polished red ceramics. Now, San Pedro is the largest settlement on the island, as well as the only town. There are some small villages and resorts built up during the rise of tourism on the island in the 1970s. Visitors can participate in a number of activities on Ambergris Caye: swimming at the beaches of San Pedro, fishing off the coast of the island, exploring the coral reef. The Belize Barrier Reef is one of the biggest tourist attractions in Belize. It's one of the largest coral reef systems in the world. In fact, the Belize Barrier Reef is second only to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. The Belize Barrier Reef is made up of 3 atolls, which are ring-shaped coral reefs enclosing a lagoon. Turneffe Atoll, southeast of Ambergris Caye. Grover's Reef, a partially submerged atoll off the coast of southern Belize. and Lighthouse Reef, the easternmost section of the 3 atolls. Lying near the Lighthouse Reef is the Great Blue Hole. This giant sinkhole is just 43 miles from mainland Belize. It measures about 1,000 feet across and more than 400 feet deep. A series of glacial events formed this cavernous hole before the sea levels rose. And analysis of the stalactites found in the Great Blue Hole traces the events that formed it back more than 150,000 years ago. When the ocean level began to rise, the cave was flooded. The Great Blue Hole became a well-known attraction when famous French explorer Jacques Cousteau claimed it was one of the 10 best scuba diving locations in the entire world. Cousteau traveled to the site in 1971 to measure the depths and test his geological theories. Now a popular destination for scuba divers. The area is known to have many species of sharks. Caribbean reef sharks, bull sharks, even some hammerhead sharks have been spotted near the Great Blue Hole. The Great Blue Hole is widely considered one of the most amazing places on Earth, as well as a must-dive location for the scuba enthusiasts. Though it isn't a dive for beginners, it takes years of experience to dive in the Great Blue Hole, as it can be a dark, dangerous excursion, but also the achievement of a lifetime. We'll need to spend some time training for a scuba diving experience like this one. Once we're ready to come up for air, we'll head back to dry land because our next stop is in Europe. But first, let's test your world knowledge. Under the Roman Empire, the Latin name for Lisbon was Olisipo, in honor of which mythical founder of the city? A. Odysseus, B. Oedipus, C. Othello, D. Orville Wright. The answer coming up when we return to The World Is Yours. We're back. Let's find out the answer to our question. Under the Roman Empire, the Latin name for Lisbon was Olisipo, in honor of which mythical founder of the city? A. Odysseus, B. Oedipus, C. Othello, D. Orville Wright. If you said A. Odysseus, you're right. Also known as Ulysses in Latin, the Greek king Odysseus and the hero of Homer's Odyssey is said to have founded Lisbon on his journey around the Mediterranean and the Atlantic. Lisbon is the capital city of Portugal, as well as its largest city, with a population over 550,000, and an urban area beyond the city limits that is home to 2.7 million people, making it the 11th largest urban area in the European Union. Lisbon is the westernmost capital on the continental Europe, as well as the only capital city that is on the Atlantic Ocean. It is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world, as well as the oldest in Western Europe. Julius Caesar made it part of the Roman Empire in the year 138 BCE and gave it the name Olisipo. Regardless of how the city became known as Lisbon, it is on the banks of the Tagus River that much of the city grew and flourished. The Praça do Comércio, the Commerce Square, is situated right on the bank of the Tagus River. The square is still often referred to as the Terreiro do Paco, the Palace Yard, because it used to be the location of the Pacos da Riviera, the Royal Riviera Palace. Built by King Manuel I in the early 16th century, he wanted it by the river, outside the city walls. And it led to the development of the area with the construction of a port, shipping facilities, and the Casa da Índia. The Royal Riviera Palace was destroyed in the Great Lisbon Earthquake of 1755. After the earthquake, the square was rebuilt, as was the Pombalini downtown, under the reign of the King of Portugal, Dom José I. The new name was meant to represent the purpose of the square, to regulate commerce and port activities for Portugal. In the center of the square, a bronze statue of King José I riding a horse. It is the first monumental statue dedicated to a king in Lisbon. Predating the Royal Ribeira is another grand historic landmark in Lisbon. A fortress atop a hill overlooking the Lisbon city center and the Tagus River. The San Jorge Castle still remains from the medieval period of Portugal's history. Though the human presence in the valley of the Tagus River has been traced back to the 6th century BCE, fortifications on the hill were established in the 2nd century. First used by Celtic tribes, later by the Romans, and then the Moors, who rebuilt the fort in the 10th century of this era and added the walls, called the Cerca Mura, or the Moorish encirclement. The castle and city were freed from the Moors by European knights in the Second Crusade. And when Lisbon then became the capital in 1255, the castle was used as the home for the governor, Alfonso III. The fort was renovated by King Denis I and then by King Ferdinand I. He ordered the Cerca Nova, new walls, to be built around the entire castle. These walls replaced some of the Moorish walls and covered the unprotected parts of the city. The walls protected against many attacks from the Kingdom of Castile, and the king had married the English princess Philippa of Lancaster. So, it was during this time that the castle was dedicated to St. George by King John I, a popular saint in both England and Portugal. The San Jorge Castle isn't the only fortification remaining from this era. The Belém Tower is another fortification on the banks of the Tagus River. In the Santa Maria de Belém parish in Lisbon, the Belém Tower was commissioned by King John II to serve as a defense at the mouth of the river and as a ceremonial entranceway to the city. The plans were drawn, but the building was not constructed before King John II died. 20 years later, the plans were revisited by King Manuel I, and the building tower was put into motion, with the Belém Tower completing construction in 1519, just 2 years before King Manuel's death. The 16th century was a time during a lot of great expansion in the city, and the tower serves as one of the important displays of the Portuguese Manuelene style design during King Manuel's reign. Built with Lois limestone, the 4-story tower is nearly 100 feet tall, and the Belém Tower is one of the most visited tourist attractions in Lisbon. Now that we've seen some of Europe's most rooted historical landmarks, it's time for us to set sail down the Amazon in search of the hidden and mysterious. But first, let's test your world knowledge. The Amazon rainforest is one of the most biodiverse forests in the entire world. How many species of insects can be found in this rainforest? A. 2,500. B. 25,000. C. 250,000. D. 2,500,000. The answer coming up when we return to The World is Yours. We're back. Let's find out the answer to our question. The Amazon rainforest is one of the most biodiverse forests in the entire world. How many species of insects can be found in this rainforest? A. 2,500. B. 25,000. C. 250,000. D. 2,500,000. If you said D. 2,500,000, you're right. There are hundreds of different species of mammals, reptiles, amphibians, thousands of different species of birds, fish, about 40,000 species of plants, and 2.5 million different types of insect species in the Amazon rainforest. Also known as the Amazon jungle, it's a broadleaf forest covering the Amazon basin in South America. The basin includes 2.9 million square miles, 2.1 million of which is covered by rainforest. This basin region is part of 9 different countries. 60% of the forest is found in Brazil, 13% in Peru, and 10% in Colombia. Due to the decline of natural forests, the Amazon represents over half the world's rainforests and is the most biodiverse tropical rainforest in the world, consisting of a staggering estimated 390 billion trees. 1 in 10 of all known animal species is represented in the biodiversity of the Amazon rainforest, like parrots, jaguars, monkeys, sloths, and all the stunning dart frogs. The Amazonas region covers parts of different countries. In the Brazilian state of Amazonas, there is the capital city of Manaus. Near the point where the Negro and Solimões rivers merge, Manaus has a population of more than 2 million, making it the most populous city in both the Brazilian state of Amazonas and the Amazon rainforest. Because of its position in the center of the rainforest, it cannot be easily accessed. This isolation helped preserve its unique culture as well as the forest around it. Known as the heart of the Amazon and the city of the forest, Manaus has a culture based in the native Brazilian tribes. And an industry of rubber manufacturing made it the richest city in South America at one point, lending the city to yet another nickname, the Paris of the Tropics. Wealthy European families were drawn to the city, which led to its urban development, as well as a diversity in culture, art, and architecture. There's a magnificent building in Manaus that embodies all of this: the Teatro Amazonas, the Amazon Theater, an opera house in Manaus, home to the Amazonas Philharmonic Opera, and the location for the annual Festival Amazonas de Opera, the Amazonas Opera Festival. The rubber boom in Manaus led to increased wealth in the city. Residents wanted to expand the city's culture. And in 1881, Antonio José Fernandes, a member of the House of Representatives, proposed the construction of the theater. A budget was finally approved, but building it took another 15 years. When exterior construction was finally completed in 1895, work on the interior began. And on January 7, 1897, the first performance was held on the new stage. The city of Manaus is rich with culture and an important city in the preservation of the rainforest. Now, it's time to explore even deeper in the jungle. But first, let's test your world knowledge. There's a debate as to whether or not the Amazon River is the longest in the world. What is the other river that is considered by some to be the longest? A. Mississippi River in the USA. B. Yangtze River in China. C. Lena River in Russia. D. Nile River in Africa. The answer coming up when we return to The World is Yours. We're back. Let's find out the answer to our question. There's a debate as to whether or not the Amazon River is the longest river in the world. What is the other river that is considered by some to be the longest? A. Mississippi River in the USA. B. Yangtze River in China. C. Lena River in Russia. D. Nile River in Africa. If you said D, Nile River, you're right. The Nile River is, depending on how it's measured, between 4,100 and 4,250 miles long. The Amazon River is considered to be between 3,900 and 4,350 miles long. Because these epic rivers created from the merging and splitting of many different waterways, with drainage in many different countries, it is difficult to find an agreed-upon consensus in terms of which is longer. What is agreed upon, though, is that the Amazon is the largest river in terms of water drainage. At 2.9 million square miles, the Amazon's drainage is double that of the Nile. That's a lot of river, so let's get started. As we set out down the Amazon in a river taxi, we'll see a number of animals that call the rainforest home, like pink dolphins and giant river otters, even piranhas. Keep all hands and feet in the boat. We'll also see some of the stunning national parks, like the Yasuni National Park and the Chumukumaki National Park. We'll meet some of the tribes along the way. There are about 400 different tribes of Indians who live in the Amazon, each residing in a different area with its own culture and language. Well, that wraps up our adventure for today. And what a great one it's been. We dove into the deepest sinkholes in Belize, walked the walls of the historic Portuguese forts in Lisbon, and sailed through the jungle down the great Amazon River, just in time to take our seats at the opera in Manaus. Thanks for joining us on our trip around the world. There are many more adventures to come. Until next time, the world is waiting and the world is yours.